morning to each and every one of you guys. We about to go into it. We about to get into it. Um, let's see from the title. The alternative to the SnyderVerse is cringe, cringe, cringe. And man, we got a lot to say. So we're gonna get into it. Cringe. Just cringe, man. Y'all just cringe. Ugh. And it all started with this movie, Justice League. You know what I'm saying? Then we had The Flash. Straight up cringe. This part wasn't so bad, but a lot of it was. We had Peacemaker. Man, Justice League was bad. So, Shazam. The first Shazam wasn't so bad. I'll be honest with you. The first Shazam was an okay story. Zachary Levi overacted, but I just watched actually Ancient Shazam, so that was cool. Talk about cringe mountain, y'all. Cringe mountain. Woo-wee. Justice League, man. And The Flash. These are some of the worst movies out there. Shazam 2 wasn't so bad. I'll be honest with you. But oh my God. The Flash was horrible. And Peacemaker sucks. Ass. Jeff Johns, the man behind all of the garbage that we got for the last couple of years. It's his vision. He's had the same vision since God knows when. Whether it's Green Lantern or Superman Returns, this guy seems to know how to produce flops. You can tell his suggestions in the movie because his suggestions usually are the parts that people don't like. This was a flop. This was supposed to be rated R too. Sucked. Man, talk about suck. Now this Black Adam actually was the best. I think Black Adam was the best of them all because Black Adam actually had a serious tone to it. At least it started off serious. It still didn't feel like it felt like, one of those like Fast and Furious or it felt more like a Hollywood film. But you know what I mean. It was a film by committee, no doubt about it. And you could feel Jeff Johns' presence in the guy who was blowing up and stuff and getting himself bigger. Boy, that was a flop anyway. Look at this. Shazam 2. So they blackfaced Gal Gadot. I gotta talk about Gal Gadot too. She's disappointing. She's very disappointing. Blue Beetle is no better. Sucked ass. And Aquaman 2, The Lost Kingdom. It sucked ass. Woo, look how ugly that looks. Woo! Good God. And they said this is canon. So Warner Brothers has accepted this, for some reason, as canon. I mean, yeah. Horrible WB movie flops. DC movie flops. Woo. All right. Start up with that. All praise be to the Most High God. The Most High God comes first. The stream is brought to you by.
Pleasant good day to you, ladies and gentlemen. The LIVE brand has expanded from drinks to punches. The punches cost $15. The drinks cost $10. In the drinks we have grapefruit orange sorrel, fruit punch, Morby lemon, ginger ale, and lime. In the punches, we have pumpkin, banana, Guinness, cocoa. We have sea moss, beetroot, molasses, and peanut punch. To order, check the description. LIVE, live now, we're live now. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The LIVE brand also includes cleaning products. Now, here we have a number of cleaning products. To your right is disinfectant. This here is dishwashing liquid. This is fabric softener. And we have a new LIVE product, this product right here. This is car wash. Car wash soap. We also have liquid detergent. To order, check the description. LIVE, live now, we're live now. A pleasant good day to you, ladies and
Important part about this whole thing is if you live in the Trinidad and Tobago area, you can order. If you don't, I still haven't gone regional or international, so I can't help you. If you have someone in Trinidad, then you can also place your order. All right, let's get into it. KG Crossover. Shout out to KG Crossover. A tribute to hope and optimism era of the DCU and to the toxic DC fandom that asked for it.
Give us movie, 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 give us I know sex. Give us movie, 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 give us as a fascist. Give us movie. 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 Toxic fandom. Give us movie. Give us movie. Toxic fandom. Give us one of the.
Oh man, that was so funny. Here's another one. KG Crossover is just making fun of this shit. And you know what? I'm laughing too. You know why? Because at the end of the day, man, bro, what the fuck is this extended universe? What the fuck is this nonsense, man? You know what I'm saying? Yo, DC could do a lot better than that. Let's get into it. You're going to enjoy this.
Guys, there's no time for secrets, okay? We have to tell them.
Move you, but I just did it a little. To put it plainly, shouldn't we have a league of our own?
So that's it? What, we some kind of suicide squad?
I believe in truth. But I'm also a big fan of justice.
Guys, there's no time for secrets, okay? We have to tell them the truth.
We're superheroes.
I'm gay.
This is Katana. She's got my back. She can cut all you in half with one sword stroke, just like mowing the lawn.
Are you saying they executed her? Because she had me?
Max Lord, you're putting yourself and everyone else in grave danger. I need you to give me the stone.
Well, I know sex exists. I've just never experienced it. Fine, but I just...
Okay, so yeah, it's bad. And it seems as though we're continuing in that trend. And just to prove the point, I'm gonna go show you what our future looks like. Don't you guys love this? This is great, isn't it? Look at that. This is fantastic. This is a Superman suit. Superman coughing out blood. Yeah, this is great, isn't it, people? Oh, look at that. Oh man, Creature Commandos. Creature Commandos. When you look forward to that, so many memes, ladies and gentlemen. So many memes. Listen, people, this is what we're going for. This is what it is. Grace Randall has to say how she's getting online harassment after a critique of the Superman trailer. She says the toxic behavior of James Gunn fans are more aggressive than Snyder fans. Peacemaker. Peacemaker deriding Batman, Aquaman, Wonder Woman. You know, it's Superman. Yeah, just chop down the heroes. The two worst performing DC properties headlining the DCEU. Suicide Squad and Blue Beetle. Yeah, James Gunn, I think he's trolling us. Why I don't trust James Gunn. James Gunn and WBD did what? The DC brand is dead. Well, yeah, they fired Henry Cavill. Superman to have a poop fetish, and so on and so on and so on and so on. It's just, it is what it is. And he seems to not to cease to take an opportunity to stab at the heroes, at the Justice League, etc. You know? The alternative to the SnyderVerse has been a miserable failure. They have tried to reboot the SnyderVerse now 4 times. This will be the 4th time. The first time was with Justice League, where Jeff Johns and John Berg, they brought in Josh Whedon, and he redid Zack Snyder's film and made it worse than it was. And that movie flopped. At the time, I was actually defending the movie because I thought Warner Bros. Was going through so much hell, only to find out, oh shit, it was them that was causing their own hell. And I was so pissed after that. Then we had, of course, we had Walter Hamada. And Walter Hamada was supposed to be the savior of the DCEU. And instead, Walter Hamada had one success, which was Shazam, in the DCEU, that is. He had a Batman movie that was successful as well. And after that, everything else, we had a flop fest. DC just kept on putting out flop after flop after flop after flop after flop. Mind you, the tonal changed with Justice League. Every movie after Justice League had jokes in it. It was Justice League, then it was Aquaman had jokes. Again, very thin storyline. Birds of Prey, rated R, had jokes. And a razor thin storyline. Wonder Woman had jokes. Razor thin storyline. The Suicide was jokes from beginning to end. Crass. Really, James Gunn just has poor taste. Overuse of the F-bomb for the F-bombs. It just edgelord crap. Flopped. Black Adam. Black Adam came the year after. Removed it from all those flops. Zack Snyder's Justice League was the only breath of fresh air in between that. Then we had Black Adam. Flopped. It wasn't as... It had jokes in it, but the lead character played Black Adam straight. But nonetheless, flopped. Then the Batman came, and that changed the tone of the stuff. It was successful. Then we had Shazam, and that was just cringe. And then we had The Flash, more cringe. You know, these stupid jokes in them. Then Blue Beetle, same shit, cringe. And then Aquaman 2, cringe. And then we had Joker, and that flopped. I think Joker Part 2 flopped mostly because DC was just on a flop fest. And I think people got disinterested in DC. And even though Joker 2 was the sequel, from the trailers and everything, I wasn't interested in it. Because I thought the first story was great. I just wasn't interested. Todd Phillips said, that's it. It's a one and done thing. And then it came back to do the sequel. He got backlash for it because apparently the character that was playing the clown wasn't Joker. I guess he changed it so there was some other Joker that came and killed him and was the Joker. Whatever. Thing is, the audience didn't enjoy that and they didn't accept it. And I personally didn't care for it. All right, I thought, why are we having and Harley Quinn in there? And I just didn't like it. And I thought we already saw Joker with Harley. One, two. I didn't think the story needed extending. And if it was going to be extended, I thought that you really had to come good to pick up off of that. So it was Arthur Fleck, I think was the guy's name. Well, he wasn't Joker, apparently. Anyway, from there we go on to this upcoming movie, which is Superflop, right? Superflop's supposed to come out. I call it Superflop because that's what it's going to do. I don't know who James Gunn and David Zaslav think they're fooling. Everybody knows that movie is crap, and we don't really want to see it. Okay, it is what it is. And that movie is trying to copy things, as all the movies have been doing, copy things off of Zack Snyder and what he's done. And I just think it's a big old mess, and it's gonna flop. They're supposed to be targeting kids, but kids have parents, and if the parents don't want to go see a movie, no matter what the kids say, they're not going to go see the movie. Superman's estate is still suing Warner Brothers, and they're trying to get the movie not to be shown, a cease and desist in certain countries. I think the countries are UK, Canada, Ireland, and Australia. So they've been working on that, and so far no change has happened, and they're progressing forward. You know, I just want to show you guys this. To me, you know, looks like Superman. Okay. This to me looks like a Superman. Not Superman, a Superman. I'll be fair. Got the S on his chest. But my God, it looks so scrappy. Now, I know this is a fan's portrayal of it, but this is the closest they've gotten to sort of what Gunn's Superman's supposed to look like, because most of the times they don't have the clothing ruffled and everything. People talk about, look at the bright colors, and I'm like, man, you are crazy. All right, this is definitely, for me, this is definitely Superman. Okay. Of course, a much more grounded version. This, I don't know what that is. He had to have a dog with him to try and make people like him, because, oh my God, it's awful. And to me, trying to Marvelize DC like DC is doing right now, this is the logo, this is the thing, you know, they're trying to do things like Marvel and even organize it and sort it out like Marvel. It's just a lose-lose situation. You're losing. I don't know why you want to go in this direction. You double down in this direction. You're not listening to anybody. You're not listening to the fan base. You're not listening to your audience. The audience is giving you feedback and telling you this looks awful. That looks awful. Oh my God, this looks awful. That looks awful. They're giving you feedback. I think even when they did the screenings, they fixed stuff and then they did the screenings. The people in the screenings were like, "That's awful." You know, they didn't feel it. And if people in screenings are not feeling it, I mean, you got to do something. Try to get the character up and running. You know what I'm saying? And we're just not getting that. And from what I hear and what I understand, we'll go into some more stuff. This is a fan who's not even a SnyderVerse fan. He doesn't even like the SnyderVerse. And he said Superman flying footage looks goofy. And you can go watch the video on YouTube. New TV spot shows Superman flying, and the internet has plenty to say about his face. It's by Wezi Yin Pool. Superman director James Gunn responds to complaints about goofy shot from new teaser. See what I'm saying? This is universal. Like I said before, Superman James Gunn defends goofy shot from recent TV spot. This is Joe Blow. Okay, Joe Blow. Joe Blow's not a Snyder fan. You know, this is the general community, general audience, general people. They're not feeling this movie. They're just not feeling, and that's just the same way how The Flash was. I think the very first trailer of The Flash, or the very first teaser of The Flash, actually people thought it was like, yeah, okay, cool. And then the rest was just the same kind of reaction that we're getting now. In other words, what I'm trying to tell you is James Gunn is just continuing what Jeff Johns and John Berg started. Jeff Johns and John Berg's legacy will always be that they fucking caused flops in DC. You can't have so many flops in the DC. You know James Gunn is somewhere in the background there. You know, James Gunn has been nothing but pure crap when it comes to making DC movies and his influence. He caused Superman Returns to flop. He caused Green, and he's never in the credits. You never see him anywhere, but his fucking influence is everywhere. And this guy, that's why Christopher Nolan did not involve Jeff Johns in the creative process. And he was pissed about that. But your goofy ass keep on causing movies to flop. Why would they want you somewhere near their stuff? You know? And David Goyer already was. They got David Goyer to, they removed David Goyer from the process so that fucking asshole could be there. And so far, DC's never had so many flops in a row, ever. And this is a universe. And the flops just keep coming. And this one's going to flop too, because guess who's involved? Fucking Jeff Johns. Believe it or not, Jeff Johns is somewhere in that equation. Joss Whedon is somewhere in that equation. James Gunn and his unholy trinity of Joss Whedon and Jeff fucking Johns. And that's what's going to make this movie flop. And y'all will say, well, Aquaman didn't flop. And the first Wonder Woman didn't, because Zack Snyder was there. Okay? Zack Snyder was there. Zack Snyder had a lot of influence on these films. Because Zack Snyder's the one that planned out the vision for the DCEU. That's what they're not telling you. Yeah, this big storyboard with all the different stories, how they interconnected to each other. I remember, was it Jeff Johns or somebody talking about it? Okay, so why we say it's the SnyderVerse, because that was Snyder's vision for the DCEU. It was different directors and stuff, but they actually mapped out something. So they knew where they were going. Even if it's loosely. There is no fucking vision for the DCEU right now. They just scrapped together something with James Gunn, and they're trying to go in that direction. And Superman is the first movie, and that movie is the continuation of what Walter Hamada was doing in tone, in look, same cheap looking cinematography. It doesn't look good, and I don't think the story's any better. And let me y'all can say this is controversial, you can say this is a hot take, whatever you want to call it. But the truth be told, James Gunn's storytelling style is paper thin and, in my opinion, trash. Okay? Trash. His storytelling is just as good as Aquaman. And so, to tell me that James Gunn, he doesn't do anything with depth or layer or anything like that. He's just an emotional guy. He tries to emotionally rope you in, and he tries to dictate how the story is told, but he does it in a very crass way. DC Studios will not show any trailers at the Super Bowl. So we had no Super Bowl trailer. We had a Puppy Bowl trailer. We got a Superman with that looking suit. And this is the quality of DC. It went from this to this. Just whole set of parodies. And it's a mockery of DC. And we've been punked and mocked for 8 straight years. No more. And if you see me getting passionate and angry about this, it's because the alternative to the SnyderVerse, now, like if you had an alternative to the SnyderVerse that was, as good or better, or even slightly less than, but we would gravitate towards it. And the audience that goes to see DC has told you what they want to see. Otherwise, they're not going to show up. And you're not going to get Marvel fans. You're not going to get people who watch Marvel to come across to DC and watch DC. You'll have one or two that are an exception to the rule. But for the most part, you're not going to get, that's not, Marvel watches Marvel. The MCU watches MCU. They're not going to watch DC. They're not going to do it. They're just not going to do it. Their allegiance is to Marvel. They love Marvel. Marvel satisfies them. Why would we go and leave something that they're satisfied with that fulfills? Again, we talked about demographics. I don't know what these executives are thinking, but anyway, demographics, right? The younger generation gets satisfied by Marvel. Older generation goes to DC. Why? Because people evolve as they move in their lives. They have experiences that mature them. So people who have had experiences and gone through certain things in life would lean towards DC because of the storytelling and the depth that it gives. So DC satisfied that demographic. Let's see if we can just understand this very, very clearly, because a lot of you don't get it. Marvel, which is controlled by DC. DC has been for years dealing with young demographic. For years, for decades, for decades they've been doing this. Okay, they've perfected the art of this in terms of animation and in terms of live action. You know, DC had its own channels and tended to everybody from 12 years down. 12 years and down, DC's been tending to them for not DC, Disney, for years. So when they came out with their Marvel stuff, they perfected the art of appealing to the younger minds. That's what they do. They're specialized in that. Now, just because you're saying, well, DC has different stories, so we could explore that and we could do the same thing too. No, you can't. No, you can't. You've not had decades. Warner Brothers never had decades and decades. Even their cartoons, even their Daffy Ducks and their, you know, their wacky characters, Looney Tunes, does not appeal to a younger fan base. It still appeals more to an older fan base. Okay? Younger people will watch it, but older people get the jokes more than the younger people. Another point, DC itself, when you see the animated film series, they're not chuckle fest. They're not joke fest. The only ones that are joke fest are Teen Titans. But Teen Titans came off of Titans, and Titans was serious. It was, you know, it was serious. These animated series, Justice League Unlimited, Justice League, you know, Batman, Batman, the animated series, Superman, the animated series, they're all serious. Superman taking a lot of punishment. Sometimes he thought he's dead. You don't know. That's the kind of thing that DC's been known for forever. Why, Warner Brothers? Why do you forsake the majority of your fan base, the majority of your audience, to try to find another audience that is suicide? You need to know what your calling card is. I remember the actor who played Commissioner Gordon in Zack Snyder's Justice League. All of this was from the original cut. By the way, the original cut, you go watch the first trailer for Justice League, the first trailer and the first teaser, and you'll see the exact same things you would see in Zack Snyder's Justice League. And that tells you that Zack had finished this thing a long time ago. And then he added extra frills, you know, at the end. But suffice it to say that you want to get all these kids and toys, you have to be true to yourself. And when people come to expect certain things of you, then they'll bring their kids along, even if it's rated R or whatever, you know, because usually the rated R films, they don't go all the way. All right. The majority of the demographic, like with Joker, which made over $1 billion, the majority of the demographic is going to be adults. That's just the way that is. All right. The little kiddies and the family movies and stuff. Some people will bring their families. Some of them will bring their kids. Then they'll have a discussion with them after. But that's not DC. DC's not about kids like that. The kids have cartoons. So they have Sunday morning cartoons and stuff. And again, the cartoons are serious. Except like Teen Titans. Teen Titans is not serious. Okay. So when you're talking DC, this is just the way DC has been. This is what people come to expect of DC. So the guys like Jeff Johns, who they write good comics, and they actually write comics that kind of have adult themes. And then this guy comes in and he decides, okay, DC needs to be like Marvel, Jeff Johns, right? You know, we need to go back to Richard Donner, and he's such a fan of Richard Donner, yet Richard Donner got fired. He never got to finish his Superman movie. And Richard Donner had a more serious take on Superman 2 than Richard Lester. So I'm amazed that Jeff Johns, you know, he talks about his brightness and hope, and he keeps on expressing this shit that when we see it on the screen, it's a fucking parody, and it's not really about lightness, hope, and truth and all that shit he was be talking. This is what pisses me off. Anyways, so they come with that, and this is the crap that we get. This is what we're going to get, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to get a guy in diapers with an oversized suit that doesn't fit him properly. And I guess we're getting what is called budget, Superman on a budget. Superman on a budget, right? His pudgy belly and stuff pulling different places on his suit. You know, it's just disgusting, man. It's disgusting what we're getting as an alternative. This was Man of Steel. This is Man of Steel. Man of Steel came out 12 years ago in June. Okay? 12 years ago in June. Okay? That movie has stood the test of time. A 12-year-old movie. Man of Steel. Superman 2025 is coming out this year. It's shiny, but you can see the drop in the standards. You can see for yourself as we're watching here, you can tell there's passion, heart, and soul put into Man of Steel. The way how the symbol sort of hangs with a shadow on the background. Okay, you can see it's off of the background. Superman 2025 looks cheap. It looks super cheap. And they got the DC Studios logo on there, and it's awful. The font is awful. Everything about it is awful. It's colorful, but it's colorful in a way in which it looks like a caricature, meaning it looks like a clown. Clowns are very colorful. HBO head Casey Bloys uses fake accounts to combat critics on this guy is not fired. So David Zaslav has this guy still around. Casey Bloys. He used fake accounts online, and they continuously use fake accounts online. That's why you see all this conversation online, you know, they come in droves, it seems, but it's really one or two or three people who have multiple accounts, and they just keep responding with all those accounts, and they're paid to do that. And you know what's the funniest thing? One of them actually admitted to me that he's not going to go watch James Gunn's Superman movie. So he's there, you know, chastising Zack Snyder and telling me, you know, Gunn's better than Snyder and all of this, and he not going to see the fucking movie. So this is the sort of stuff that we're dealing with. I'm going to show you guys. Okay. You got all these haters on here. Look at the guy. He has no followers. You know that's not a real account. I'm saying. Jeff Heffley parody. That's not a real account. You see numbers. Anakin S69. You know that's not a real account. Look again. So a lot of times we see these accounts, and they're artificial accounts. They're not real accounts. This is a real account. Now, I say all of this to say that a lot of these people tell us, move on. You need to move on. Move on to what? What is the alternative to move on to? That's the $100 million question. What are we moving on to? That's the $100 million question. We're supposed to move on to this? Like, really? Shout out to everybody. The Academy Award winning, Oscar winning No Other Land. It's also posted up on YouTube. You guys can check it out. Just type out No Other Land. It's on there. And I'm going to definitely check it out. Zack Snyder and Clay Enos, they bounced up each other in New York City. And that was really dope. That's Clay Enos' wife and Zack Snyder and his wife. And Clay, you know, Clay likes to make things, and he started talking about restore the SnyderVerse. We even saw Zack Snyder. I think something's afoot, and I believe it's a matter of time before we restore the SnyderVerse, before that becomes a reality, because we're seeing James. They're doing all kinds of crazy things. It's like, you know, before you can say boo, they change up what's supposed to happen. So we're hearing now that you know, Green Lanterns is going to be in Elseworld. It's not going to be in the DCU. And I think it's because they realize the DCU may not be. That the Superman movie is going to be a flop, and they invested a lot of money into that thing. David Zaslav gave all the support he could possibly give to James Gunn and Peter Safran. He gave them everything possible to make this movie a success. And it's not going to. It's going to flop on July 11th. And now they're making contingency plans to brace for that not happening and the DCU collapsing before it could even begin. So I think now they're talking Elseworld for this and Elseworld for that. But the honest truth is they have no plan. There is no vision. Okay. And shame on David Zaslav. Nobody's doing their homework in Warner Brothers. Nobody. The only two people who could do something in Warner Brothers, their hands have been tied and tied more by the dumb asses who run Warner Brothers. And I remember Zack Snyder saying, you know, Abdi and DeLuca are the only people with the cool heads. But I'm going to still speak to Abdi and DeLuca, even though they probably have less and less to do with these movie making things and calling the shots. But I will say this about Abdi and DeLuca. Abdi and DeLuca, you probably know by now that the only people who had a vision for DC was Zack Snyder, Christopher Nolan, David Goyer, Chris Terrio. They were working on something, and they still are working on the sequel to Zack Snyder's Justice League. I mean, Chris Terrio knows what they're going to do in the follow-up film. Ben Affleck knew what he was going to do in his film. So you have already 3 films they're sitting down. I was going to say something else, but I can't remember what it was I was going to say. But suffice it to say that, you know, something should be afoot, you know, because these executives, man, they have no idea. They have no passion for comic books and comic book movies. These are not people who are passionate about anything. They're just interested in investment, turning over investment, making some more money for themselves. And I'm not sure why this is this way, but it is. I want to show you guys something. Very recently, Daredevil greenlit and you know, people came online, the two major leads of Daredevil, and thanked the fans for persisting with Daredevil. I want to show you guys something, because Daredevil went through a journey very similar to our journey, and I want to show you it. So Daredevil started like this. Daredevil had been canceled on HBO on Netflix, and Charlie Cox. It came back. It came back in She-Hulk. Daredevil appeared in She-Hulk. Charlie Cox explains Daredevil's return in She-Hulk. What to expect in Born Again and his yellow suit. I got goosebumps, he said. Wearing the yellow suit, I guess. So that's what he said when Daredevil came back. And of course, fans were in uproar about that. They were like, what the fuck are they doing to Daredevil? And then She-Hulk was already something that they didn't like, the Marvel fans. And the fans kept on campaigning for Daredevil to come back. Of course, we knew that the MCU was trying to plan how to bring back this film, this show. And so we got this. Marvel has let go of all the writers and directors for Daredevil Born Again, as the series will get an entire creative reboot. So they were trying to reboot Daredevil, and the people who they were using to do that reboot, they removed all of them after seeing the fan backlash and the fan reaction. And they got a new set of writers to write Daredevil Born Again. And then basically a 180-degree turn. I try to ignore some stuff. Daredevil Born Again showrunner says series disregards She-Hulk. So you're not going to see no She-Hulk and the event that happened with She-Hulk. That's not happening in Daredevil because they were making him into a joke, you know? And if Marvel is pivoting away from that, why is it that DC's embracing that? They've been embracing it for so many different films, and Superman 2025 is not going to be any exception to the rule. It's going to be the same thing. There's going to be that same sickening, disgusting comedy that maybe, you know, I don't even know if children like that stuff, but you know, it's just not. I mean, I don't know. They're trying to get families to go in and see this movie. This movie, you know what this movie reminds me of? It reminds me of Captain Marvel. The Marvels. That's what it reminds me of. The Marvels or Shazam 2. The way how that movie looks and how it seems to be set up reminds me of that caliber of movie. Just something that I just don't understand why Warner Bros. Would go in this direction, but they have doubled down. After all those flops, they decided, no, these flops must work, and they doubled down on it. And I don't know, they haven't changed anything. It's the same policy they're carrying out. It's just a travesty. But as you can see, the fans won the battle with Daredevil. Now, why am I saying all of this? I'll tell you why. Hold on a second. Oh, this is bad. That was real dope. Oh, that's nice. Why am I telling you this? This is the Superman lawsuit. Hold on, I'm going to get to the answer. I'm just scrolling down to find it. It's a little further down here. Come on. This is right. See, Every person in this picture has damaged film criticism beyond repair and have dumbed down the generation beneath them's ability to enjoy and analyze cinema. And these people, I'm not gonna lie to you, they bash any comic book movie that wasn't like Marvel. And so being like Marvel seemed to be the end thing because Marvel had been successful at doing team up movies. And they felt that the recipe, the formula for that was you had to do so much films and all of that. And Warner Brothers tried to do that. They tried to introduce, these side characters and bring it in. Marvel, there's another thing people don't understand. DC has larger than life characters which are heavily high powered. Marvel doesn't have that luxury. And they didn't have all of their catalog. So when they started off with Iron Man was a hit. Iron Man wasn't any prominent character. It was B-level character, right? They managed to crack into their universe. Their universe, though, was built on jokes to break up the realism, to give you a pause from realism. And it was supposed to be a feel-good movie because that's what Disney does. Disney does a lot of feel-good movies. That's their strength. So Marvel was all about feel-good movies and happily ever after stories. All right? Characters didn't take themselves seriously. But that, for years, and clearly The Dark Knight, DC should have understood this. The Dark Knight wasn't funny. Wasn't anything that Marvel, it was starkly in contrast to what Marvel put out there. And the important thing to understand was, whereas Iron Man was a hit being what it was, when DC tried to copy that with Green Lanterns, it flopped. When DC tried to be what DC is, in The Dark Knight Rises and The Dark Knight, it succeeded. Because DC is not Marvel. DC will give you deeper, serious stories. And then Marvel will give you lighthearted, funny stories. That's their formula. That's what they do. And for Marvel to try to be like DC, it doesn't work. Most fans did not like Eternals. Eternals was more like DC. Okay? Most fans didn't like that. Endgame and Civil War and Infinity War were still Marvel. They tried to borrow storylines and borrow borrow storylines and borrow character plots from DC, but they did it in the Marvel way. And why this is so important for people to understand is because Marvel appeals to a totally different demographic than DC does. There's a little overlap, but for the most part, it's a different demographic. And when DC fans tell you what they want, not these fake ass, supposedly real DC fans, not these fake ass fans who don't know DC, most of them that talk, even the loudmouth ones, talk about who Superman should be, how Batman, Wonder Woman. Usually they don't know the literature very well, or they haven't gone through all of the literature. They've gone through maybe recent literature. They maybe go, Jeff Johns fans, so they go with that. Some of them are mostly Christopher Reeve fans. They really haven't really studied Superman, watched Superman, read Superman. Had they read a Superman comic, any Superman comic for that matter, they would realize that Superman is starkly different to the Christopher Reeve version that they give you. Superman doesn't talk that much. Yes, he will relate with kids, people, and so on, but he's stoic most of the time, and he's usually fighting these epic battles, whether it's intergalactic, Superman goes intergalactic, or it's even Earth. He's handling big issues, okay? And he's not laughing and smiling about it. He doesn't frown and scowl all the time like Batman, but depending on the situation. But the point is, Superman is, he's about it, So it's not funny. I haven't seen a Superman movie or a Superman animated series that's funny. Christopher Reeve was the introduction to a certain version of Superman. Anyways, so the alternative that we see for the SnyderVerse is cringe. It's cringe. It's the nostalgia that people are trying to capture and Warner Brothers is trying to capture, which has long since been dated and gone. There are aspects of it that can be carried on, and Henry Cavill carried on aspects of it. And the thing about it is, and you see, these stupid executives, this is the point I wanted to make, and after Luca understand this, but you don't get people who can direct Superman and an actor that can play Superman. They don't come every day. They don't come every day. It's not somebody you can pick off the street and then play Superman. I don't think, okay, let me give you an example of what I mean. Tyler Hoechlin. Tyler Hoechlin is a version of Superman, but I don't consider him Superman. And from what I heard, Tyler didn't actually like playing the role of Superman. Okay, he didn't really like it. And we saw him giving people the finger in the background and stuff like that. So he's all right as Superman. Don't get me wrong. He's much better than, the material that they have and that you do and carrying on Superman's story. He's really good in that respect. But you didn't feel his heart and soul and his earnestness in playing the character. You got an artificial sort of heart and soul playing the character. Cavill's literally Superman. That's the Henry Cavill you see walking around is Superman. Superman, he's not pretending to be Superman. He's not pretending to be what he is. He's being himself. And he's very careful with how he conducts himself and how he carries himself, like Superman. Now, I hear certain people say, well, James Gunn's going to bring the hope and brightness of Superman. How many times have we heard that? And that's a Jeff Johns line, right away. Hope and brightness. What the fuck are you talking about? There was hope and brightness in Justice League. That's why it flopped. There was hope and brightness in the headless Superman that appeared in Shazam. There was hope and brightness in the Superman that Peacemaker was cursing out and just in the shadow. There was hope and brightness in the Superman in the Flash that we saw, the CGI Superman. I mean, come on, man. Y'all need to stop with the nonsense. Oh, the suit's not bright enough. Okay, that's superficial shit, though. Where is hope and brightness in a world who is narcissistic, which is sarcastic, which only wants to destroy you and tear you down? James Gunn's supposed to be addressing that somehow, some way. Right? That's what we want to know. We want an artificial Superman. We don't want that. So Christopher Reeve was genuine in how he portrayed Superman. Even though Superman was doing some really cringy shit in his movie. But that was a different time, I guess. But he was playing the role as genuine as he could. He didn't get the opportunity to play it how with deeper material, but he did play the role best as he could. Henry Cavill got to play deeper material. Okay? And that was great. Okay? And that's what made me interested in Superman and a whole millions of people interested in Superman, because we saw an aspect of Superman we had not seen before. And of course, because Man of Steel was about him becoming Superman, we learned how he became Superman, how he got these values, how Superman became who he was. So this was all great. Even BVS is part of the evolution of Superman. And to be honest with everybody out there, the alternative just pales in comparison, man. We don't have anything. We asked for Henry to come back and play Superman. It didn't have to have Zach directing, but somebody under guidance and do a good Superman movie. And instead, this is what we are getting. Warner Brothers decided, no, we have a better idea. Let's get James Gunn, of all people, who has never done a Superman movie, to go and always with comedy, and we're gonna have him do Superman, and we're looking at Warner Brothers like, what? Not again, man. Really? You and your great ideas? They will not listen to the fans. Unlike Marvel, who listens to their fans. How come you want to be like fucking Marvel, but you can't listen to the fans? So you're going after a demographic that's not your demographic. That's Marvel's demographic. That's the MCU's demographic. Those are people who gravitate to the MCU. They already have the entertainment that they want. They're not going to come across to see your entertainment. They're just not going to do it. They're committed to Marvel and MCU because the entertainment is designed for them. Now you have a demographic where all you have to do as a stupid ass studio is provide the demographic you have with the materials that they want. And you won't listen to them. You think you're smarter than them. You think you're a god. And they have to follow what you say. And you're going to use propaganda and all kinds of shit to get your way. And so far, you failed miserably. Miserably. Because people like what they like. And if it doesn't interest them, they're not going to go watch it. It's just what it is. You could say whatever you want to say. People are not going to watch things they don't want to see. You have to excite them into seeing it. And presenting fake hype and giving fake inflated numbers is not the way. You're not going to trick people into going to see something. So let's go to restore the Snyder. Free Palestine. Now with Free Palestine and geopolitics, we've been looking at and talking about what's happening. So far, what's transpiring is the U.S. was doing direct negotiations with Hamas. They left Israel out of the equation because I guess they were negotiating the American hostages that are there. Strangely, Israel wasn't in those negotiations, so I'm guessing they were just doing something where they were trying to negotiate their hostages from Hamas. But of course, that would have to be in exchange for something else. At present, Donald Trump is saying some really reckless language, but I don't think he wants extra trouble because going to war with Hamas is like going to war with the Viet Cong. It's like going to war with North Korea or Korea, period. There's no benefit for the United States going to war there. I see they're bringing warships and all of that, lining it up, trying to go at Iran or whatever. War is just not the answer. So I hope that Mr. Trump knows what he's doing. He's talking a lot of anti-Semitic stuff against the people of Palestine, not understanding they're Jews in Palestine, they're Druze in Palestine, they're Christians in Palestine. They're not just Arabs and Muslims in Palestine. And that's something that a lot of these people just don't get. Because there are Americans in Palestine that live in Palestine and go visit their families and got trapped there. So I think it's very important for Mr. Donald Trump to understand, even though he has negotiating teams, and he's trying to bully the Hamas, and Hamas already made a response and said that, it really doesn't matter what you say, bro. I don't think you want to go to war here. It would be the graveyard of many American soldiers, Palestine, because these people have been, fighting to save their lives for decades. Okay? For decades. You're not just going to go in there, kill out as much people as possible. You're definitely not going to get rid of Hamas. Hamas has benefited majorly from this. You're not going to benefit, you're not going to get the captives, the IDF soldiers, back that way. And on top of that, I'm just going to make it abundantly clear. You're going to have to come back to the negotiating table because Hamas had been kicking the IDF's ass inside of Gaza. They are the resistance to complete annihilation of the Palestinian people. They are the reason why they're standing up to them. Hezbollah is the same thing. The Yemenis, they're the same thing. The Houthis, and of course the Iraqis, who are working together. So they don't understand that all this is doing is making them stronger, making them more resolved to dig in. They're willing to sacrifice their lives to make sure that they stay on their land. They've been taken. Everything has been taken from their olive trees, the citrus industry, their tomato industry and stuff. Israel's been doing a lot of evil to these people, and these people, you know what? I understand why. Even the Al-Aqsa flood, where they actually went in and took hostages so they could do the hostage trade. I empathize with these people a lot when I see what they've gone through, so much they've gone through. And then to see Gal Gadot go up on the ADL and talk about how Israel's a victim. Israel's not no fucking victim. Stop the bullshit. You're not a victim. Okay? You can't have the biggest military in the world. You're getting billions and billions of dollars of arms and aid that's keeping your economy afloat. And you're the victim? Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. The bully, you went into Syria, you bombed Lebanon, you bombed Yemen, and you're talking about you're the victim? Get the fuck out of here. And when I heard Gal Gadot try to talk about the horrors that the hostages went through, the hostages didn't go through no horrors. Every single account by hostages, when they just came out, spoke positively about Hamas and about the Palestinians. And that's why the Hannibal Directive, because they don't want soldiers coming back saying that stuff. And then I don't know what they do them, but then they will do a 180-degree turn and start drumming up lies, because they're good at lying, But believe you me, the truth is that it's bad PR, because Hamas keeps on treating everything that the Israelis have done to the Palestinians. Hamas has done the opposite. They've treated people like they're human beings. They have, defended their people. They haven't gone into Israel's land anymore. They did fire missiles and stuff back at Israel, absolutely, because they were bombing them. But Hamas is not, and again, strategic shots. It seems that they were firing in strategic areas. Of course, we know that Hezbollah was firing rockets into the area, and a lot of the Israelis had to move south. They're trying to claim right now parts of Syria, the Golan Heights area, and more as Druze territory, even though they have kicked the Druze out of northern Israel. So it's some real bullshit be going on over and over and over again when it comes to Israel. And so I don't want to hear anything about Israel being a victim. And this anti-Semitism thing and the laws they made are clown charade. It's just a fucking charade. And nobody should pay attention to that. And I saw police hauling off people and trying to grab people and brutalizing people in the Columbia University protests. Well, guess what? Intensify those protests. But I say, and I will always advise people, if you're going to do that protest, arrange to have protection. Arrange to get the VA people, the veterans, people who are in service, but they're vets, military people. Let them be in the crowd. They can handle the police. They should be your first line of defense. Make sure they have a perimeter. Make sure they're in different areas observing. So anything pops off, they're able to intervene, and they can handle the police. Trust me, they can handle the police. They will get their tools and materials. You hire them, and they will handle that. They'll handle the police. Because I've seen people getting brutalized. It's because you don't have protection. Ain't no way police is going to approach you or pro-Israeli hooligans, these Zionists are going to approach you and hit you and stuff and just do anything to you if you have protection. If you have protection, they're not just going to roll in there just like that. Okay, they're not going to disrespect you like that. They're doing it because they can get away with it, and because they believe their mass numbers, they can allow anything to happen. But once you have protection there, again, that's the Third or Fourth Amendment, I think it is. Your Fourth Amendment rights are you're allowed to carry weapons, and you have people who trained in carrying weapons, and you got them. You got them at the corners of the protest, watching everything. They're just like bodyguards for you. They watch things. They're watching. They're looking, and make sure if the police approach anybody, they approach them first. You have to go through them before you go and speak to anybody. I don't care if you have a warrant. Well, let's see what the warrant says. Okay, number understand this is Freedom of Speech Act. Unless you're gonna arrest this person. Okay, if you're gonna arrest this person, you be very careful with them. You know, so it's like the police can't just do any old thing. You have to have that bully there to punch back. You have to have that physical, intimidating presence so that you can carry on and you know there's a first line of defense and these people make sure protocol couples. If somebody's going to arrest somebody, if they're going to arrest the person and take them away, these people accompany them to make sure that they don't mishandle them. Sometimes accompany them all the way to the precinct or wherever they're going to log them in, make sure they're treated properly, carry cameras and stuff. And also you have this protection just in case. You don't want anybody getting brutalized. You don't want anybody getting mishandled. And that's what you have to have. You have to have it. This is the era we're dealing with. And you will need protection because these people don't care if they kill you. All right. Police has proven that with the George Floyd incident. Showed you that they don't give a fuck about you. They will kill you. Okay. If they feel they are threatened. But military people, they know how to handle that situation. They know how to handle the police. The police starts behaving stupid and they want to fire. They're not going to fire so quickly on somebody who's armed and is licensed to carry a weapon. They're not going to fire on them, especially if they're trained to shoot. So, if the police tries to do that or they try to squash protests and stuff, this almost feels like Beijing, China. But you now see those politicians like Trump and all these guys, they're passing some stupid laws. You need to ignore those laws. And you need to push back with the law that invalidates those laws that's been around forever. You need to go into courts, push back. You not only need to do that, you need to sue the government. You need to sue the federal government for making bad law. You need to sue also the police or anybody who is enforcing this bad law. You have to do civil disobedience. But you have to be protected. You have to have protection. We are not going through the civil rights movement all over again, where people are just walking and getting beat up. No, this is a different era. This is a different time. You guys have heart and soul. We want you to stick around. We don't want them damaging you. And also, if they touch you without your permission, they can arrest you. But if they touch you without your permission, then you should sue the shit out of them. I mean, sue the living shit out of them. And we will get pro bono lawyers. You get pro bono lawyers to run your case. They must not slip up and do shit with you. These intimidatory tactics need to end. These people have been getting away with murder. Israel has been getting away with murder. Same thing in Israel. If you've been assaulted, again, there are former IDF soldiers in Israel. You need to go to the veterans. The veterans know the atrocities that Israel has done. The veterans know what it is to fight for freedom. The veterans understand when injustices have been done. They've been on the battlefield. They know what it is. And a lot of the veterans are mistreated in America and mistreated in other countries. So go to your military or ex-military and those who are not mercenaries and other things and actively carrying out other nasty duties for the government. The people have changed. I'm telling you, I watch the ex-Marines, the ex-Army, the ex-military people here on X, and they all have scathing things to say about the government and about the policies they're enacting, not just in America, but also in the world. So these people they know they have the dirt on everything. And those are the people you want. You want those tactical people. You want them to protect the country once again. And this time it's against tyranny. You need these people activated and you need them to be on your side. Okay. And I'm telling you right now, I know some of them on Twitter, but I can tell you right now, you need to mobilize and get those people into position to and to take back your country, because I'm being honest with you. America is about to go down, 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 and the people who are suffering. Canada just recently had a retaliatory tariffs on billions and billions of dollars of goods and services, and certain industries in America are about to collapse. The agricultural industry is about to collapse if they don't have these negotiated tools. And clearly Trump doesn't know what the fuck he's doing, and this is going to be a big mess. You know, Elon Musk also doesn't know what the fuck he's doing, and he's going to fuck up the country in America even more. He's going to tamper with Social Security, which is just craziness. I think it's more rhetoric than anything else. I don't think they're going to go that far. But then again, they have gotten access into certain things and they're creating their narrative. But people are going to suffer as a result of their actions. And again, they started off, it seemed as if they started off well, like the TikTok ban being, graced, and, the move to have a ceasefire in Palestine. Those were two great moves. But if Donald Trump doesn't understand what is supposed to happen in America, because you got to have the American, and I'm telling you right now, the American people can take only so much. They're about to tip over. If Trump is like he's like the last bit of trust they're putting into the government. He's the last straw. So if that straw breaks, they're going to people are going to fuck up a lot of shit. Shit's going to go down. And they're going to target the rich and the wealthy, and they're going to burn the fucking place down. Okay? Trump better know what he's doing, because I'm telling you, the people who support him right now, the MAGA people, they're watching at a lot of shit that's going on, and they're just scratching their heads and being like, what the fuck is this? Right? So if you think, and Steve Bannon, he thinks these people are on his side. Okay. If it starts to adversely affect these people, they will so drop everybody, politician. And you saw them storm the Capitol before. You encouraged that, Trump. So these motherfuckers are going to storm the Capitol again. But this time, they're going to storm it and take it over and destroy everything. Okay? You don't understand these Americans, and they are, they have there's certain rights they have, and one of them is right to bear arms. And these motherfuckers will revolt. Okay, they will revolt against the federal government, and they will empower the states. And you'll have a loose sort of association. You have the United States, but it'll mostly be state legislation. They're not going to trust in the central government anymore. They'll burn it to the ground. They'll burn that shit to the ground. Okay, and we talking white hillbillies, we talking the Black Power movement. Everybody gonna jump in, and everybody gonna get their piece. They're gonna get their lick. Okay, and our Americans are different to other people. They'll take shit from you, but once their eyes open, they go hard in the other direction. Okay, so I'm just saying, that's Russian roulette being played right now with the American people, and there's only so much shit they will take. Okay, and then they will explode. And it's gonna be on, baby. It's gonna be on, and it's not gonna be a civil war. It will be a war against the federal government versus the states. That's how it's gonna go down. The federal government versus the states. That's how it's gonna go down, and it's gonna get ugly. Okay, because the states are gonna say, "What? Why the fuck do we have a federal government? Fuck this. Fuck the Fed. Fuck all this shit. The federal banks, the federal this. Oh, that's how they control it. Burn it all down." And they're going to take everything down. You know what I'm saying? They're going to burn shit down. And they're going to start it all over. So I'm saying it's touch and go in the U.S. A lot of people that can't get housing. Housing's going to get even more expensive to get because of these tariffs. Shit going to go into the sky. Oil, everything. And why did Donald Trump choose to make enemies with Mexico and with Canada? I don't know. He's thinking his military can take him over. But into economic wars, and China's just sitting on the side laughing. They're just laughing. They're not doing anything. China's laughing at this because the world's tipping more and more in favor of China. and it's tipping towards them, and they're just laughing at the internal shit that's going on in America right now. Russia's laughing, China's laughing, Iran's laughing. They're just watching at everything and laughing at it because they know America's made up of its people, and they're not strengthening the people. This is what socialism does. Socialism is these programs for the population so that no one set of people has all the money or all the resources. It's sort of dispersing of things to benefit people. So when you destroy Social Security, which you owe trillions of dollars to, and you say, fuck off these people and blah, 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 blah. And then you turn around and you fuck people over with aid and insurance aid and so on for their daily lives. And then you skyrocket prices up into the sky because now you impose tariffs on different things. So people can't buy certain necessities without really spending a whole bunch of money on them. As the Prime Minister of Canada so correctly said, he said, I apologize to the American people, but your lives are going to be fucking hell from here on in. And thanks to Donald Trump, this shit is going to be epically bad for Americans. It's already started. It was implemented, I think, yesterday. So, in short, what I'm saying is, Donald Trump is talking a talk that he cannot walk. It is not sustainable. The crazy idea of putting tariffs on different things, unless you're protecting an industry in America. America doesn't really have any industries anymore. The only industry they probably have is the Silicon Valley, and even that is overpassed. China has already surpassed that. So they really don't have nothing. They're trying to protect, electric cars in America by having 100% tariffs on cars coming in. Again, that's not going to help anything or protect anything. Tesla, once upon a time, was the car to get. And now there are so many cars that are much better, cheaper in terms of electric cars. China has caught up and surpassed what Tesla can do, and they have a lot of clients worldwide. So trying to close a market to other people is to isolate yourself. And in a global economy like this, the last thing you want to do is isolate. And that's all America has been doing. That's all Israel has been doing, is isolating themselves and putting that noose around their neck and hanging themselves. They keep closing the doors to interaction with other countries by maintaining a particular position. And it's going to be their demise. Their economy is going to fall off the grid and it's going to just collapse. And it's going to collapse because you can't have, just like in Haiti. Haiti has very rich people, but the money's not circulating all around the country. What these capitalists do not understand is that, yes, capitalism can be good, but it has to be counterbalanced by socialism. If only one set of people are benefiting from the system and the majority of people are not, then you have a poor country. And the US dollar will fall to absolutely zero value because of the massive inflation that will be inside of the country. Everything's just getting inflated. And so you can't suck a country dry and expect it to be prosperous, which is exactly what is happening. That can only go on for so long. It's like my country, Trinidad and Tobago dollar had to be devalued to counter inflation. We're a very wealthy country, but because we were taking certain measures, which, and even to this day, we're still doing it. We're limiting how much foreign exchange is available to the average person. They say it's for fraud, but it's bullshit, because there's tremendous fraud that happens with multinational companies and big companies in my country. So it doesn't stop anything. It's just they were hoping that it would allow the dollar to be stronger, but the dollar's not going to be stronger because you're not interfacing with other countries and exchanging foreign currency for local country currency. You need, the more transactions you do, the more trade you do, exactly, especially for small businesses and local businesses. The more trade you do is the more income comes into the country, because you want to export goods and services, but you have to have the foreign exchange to do that. So they've actually stunted the growth of the country. Every time you try to contain something that should be given to free market forces, unless that thing is in it's embryonic stages. It's now growing, and it's now, and even then, I would argue that tariffs, which are supposed to protect vulnerable industries, they're not supposed to be permanent things. They're supposed to be temporary, right? And this shit is backfiring so bad on President Trump right now, because obviously if you impose tariffs on a country, that country is going to retaliate and impose tariffs on you so that they can preserve their economy, right? So China has put tariffs on U.S. products, and what the problem with U.S. products is they're redundant. What I mean by that is, in my country, locally we make peanut butter, but we import peanut butter from the United States of America. Now, if the United States of America was supposedly to impose tariffs, let's say, on peanut butter, so that all peanut butter is very expensive when it comes across to their country, then we impose tariffs on their peanut butter. It's going to be non-competitive to us in our country, because it's already the most priciest peanut butter you'll find out there. And now it's going to go way up in the sky. So nobody's going to buy their peanut butter. Maybe some people will buy our peanut butter, but we have to impose tariffs so that we can be competitive with them. So all it does is hurt the consumer at the end of the day, because the prices of peanut butter go up. You see? And it's not going to hurt us, because most people in our country don't actually buy their peanut butter. We'll buy local peanut butter, right? So when you impose a tariff, say, on peanut butter, and we do a consequential tariff on your peanut butter, the one who's going to lose out is you. Yeah, your peanut butter is going to be too expensive for anybody to buy. So the few people who are buying it won't buy it anymore. And meanwhile, we're still consuming our peanut butter. And yeah, maybe our peanut butter now becomes more competitive with your peanut butter because of the price rise that you may do. But people will still continue to buy our peanut butter who are buying it. Cultural reasons, or whatever other reasons. Because we got people from the West Indies that live over there. So ultimately, in the end, your tariffs hurt you. It don't hurt us. It goes right back to where it belonged, and it balances out. And we benefit, and you don't get any benefits from it. And that's the point behind what I'm saying. U.S. products are redundant. So Tesla is not going to get more sales out there because it can't compete with BYD. Yeah. BYD is everywhere. Right. Foreign countries more buy Asian products, Asian vehicles, Asian technology, Asian phones, right? They more buy that than American products these days. Right. And the reason is because the Asian markets, they made sure to make their products affordable and cheap. America didn't continue to foster their own industries. They outsourced to the very countries that were already making these products cheap and affordable. And by doing so, these countries gained knowledge from them and are making products, and so they can make their products better. And they compete with them. And now America doesn't even have industries to make their products anymore because they're outsourcing them, so that when this tariff war begins, they're already on the losing end of the spectrum, because the very countries that they're tariffing are the very countries in which they're making their product. So they lose out double fold. So all of these tariffs is stupid. You have no industries to protect by doing these tariffs. All you're doing is inflating the cost of the very products you're trying to protect, which are supposedly American. You look at the cars today. A lot of the cars today, whether it's Jaguar, whether it's Ford, whether it's Jeep, they're all being designed and they're all being manufactured abroad. Detroit is almost, even now, Detroit is known for GM and these things, but they're outsourcing the labor. So at the end of the day, Mexico is known for manufacturing a lot of vehicles for American. That a lot of the American companies are now stationed in Mexico. So when you do a tariff war or trade war, you're cutting off your own hands and your feet, because these industries depend on these foreign countries and their raw materials and their expertise to make the products that you say are all American. So I don't get it. I don't get what he's doing. He's doing something that's just absolutely going to devastate the American people. And they're already devastated as it is, and it's only going to get worse. So I don't understand these policies. These policies make no sense to me. And with Palestine, he's been saying a lot of derogatory, inflammatory things that, if he follows through on them, they're war crimes. And I'm telling you right now, everything's getting documented. This is not an era where you can get away with being an asshole and it ain't documented. Everything in this era is documented. Everything. So when you say reckless shit, people are going to hold you accountable for that. And Donald Trump doesn't seem to get that. All right. And the whole world's up in arms with what his last statement about the people in Gaza. He's been very reckless with his statements, and he is going to be held accountable for every statement he makes. Now, he likes to say a lot of rhetoric and then he does something opposite, but then nonetheless, the point is, we're just watching to see if he follows through with what he says. Because if he follows through with what he says, he's in trouble. Okay, and the world today is different to previous times. He'll be in serious trouble because everything he said is a war crime. Like, no, you're talking forced displacement, you're talking ethnic cleansing, you're talking because you didn't consult these people. You didn't ask them what they would want, right? So everything he said rhetoric-wise is damning on him. And I hope he will be a little wiser in how he picks his words and chooses to say things. But of course, his actions speak louder than words. So we'll see what happens in terms of action. Of course, the Arab Summit totally disagreed with this. And even though people are saying the Arab Summit doesn't have any clout, it's amazing to see the Arab Summit come together and they actually make these statements and take these stances. And I'm pretty sure it's because of pressure from their communities, when they're given nations and their populations, they have to do this. So ultimately, in the end, America and Israel has gotten figureheads that kind of support them, you know, whereas the people of the countries do not support them. And like I said before, there's going to be hell to pay if these leaders don't do what their people are telling them. And that goes for the UK head, Starmer. That goes for the German chancellor. That goes for, because Germany is in uproar. I mean, every single country in Europe is in an uproar. The people do not agree with their governments now. And everybody's seeing this thing online. They're seeing what Israel does to the Palestinians. And now we're getting more and more literature. We got this movie that came out. We have a bunch of other things to come out. So it's gonna be what it is. It's gonna be pure fire, you know. Anyways, that's what I got for you guys. I am Christ, I am Disciple. I'm on What You Need channel doing the stream. I thought I'd cover it today. I always feel impressed to do this. This is why the Most High wants me to make this statement. Last night I wanted to do another one, but I had some stomach problems and other things, and it seems as though there's a mouse somewhere in the house. I had to catch and throw outside. Um, but I wish you guys a blessed day. We constantly try to keep track of what's happening in the world, as well as we constantly try keep track of what's happening with the SnyderVerse. With respect to boxing, what you need, I don't feel like talking about anything boxing right now. I'll be honest with you. I don't see anything to really say. There are one or two updates. Like, we want to see what the New York State Athletic Commission ruling on, round 9. If they rule in favor of uh, uh, the young man who fought Tank, which I just can't remember his name. If they rule in favor and overturn the thing and give him the win, that would be great. That would show boxing's correcting its mistakes. If they don't, then we'll just look at it and say, okay, so that's boxing for you. It's just a bunch of bullshit, because I think in more than one way, Tank should have been penalized. He did 3 separate things which really demanded that he got penalized, and the referee messed up in not calling at least one of them. So we'll see how it goes, and it looks bad. It really looks bad. A lot of people are talking about it, but I don't really want to stress on that too much. I watch, I see, and I say this is not worth me talking about, so I don't bother to comment on it, because not everything is to be commented on in boxing. It's good to see Devin Haney versus Jose Ramirez. Ryan Garcia finally facing up to Rolly Romero. That's a nice matchup right there. It was long anticipated, so that's a good fight. And to see what's his name? Who is he facing? He's facing that kid from Golden Boy. The lineal 140-pound champion. I forgot his name. That's crazy. I can't believe I forgot his name. I can see his face. I can't remember his name. He was at Top Rank, and he's going to be facing his mandatory. So hopefully he gets through with his mandatory. Maybe not. That's a good matchup too. So, we have some good matchups that we're seeing. That's going to be New York. Turkey Al-Sheikh has been doing a good job with boxing so far. I was glad to see Bivol versus Beterbiev. I hope they run back a third one. Give Beterbiev a chance to get back his belts. And Canelo is going to be fighting Terrence Crawford. That's also another very good one, in which I'm interested to see how that fight goes. I can't really say. I know Canelo has certain deficiencies in his game that Terrence could exploit. The question is, can Terrence take the power of Canelo? Canelo punches very, very hard. Jamel Charlo's a tough guy, and he got dropped by Canelo when he started to engage with him too much. And maybe Terrence, I don't know if he could take Canelo's power, but I think maybe Terrence will be able to negotiate that, because he has good footwork. He can punch with either hand, lead with either hand, and it's good skills. And Mayweather made it look easy, but that was Mayweather. I don't know if Crawford could do this at Canelo's weight. That's a lot. That's a tall order right there. It's the weight that I'm worried about, and how he handles that. But I'm sure Crawford's a guy that prepares, leaves no stone unturned. So this is definitely going to be Crawford's defining fight of his career if he wins against Canelo. This will be it. I mean, nobody will question anything. Canelo's pound for pound, one of the top 10 pound for pound best fighters in the world. He's a cash cow. I think he's the biggest cash cow in boxing right now. and he is the biggest name in boxing. So if he beats Canelo, which again, Canelo can be beaten. He's beatable, but I thought Jamel Charlo would have beaten Canelo, to be honest with you, but he obviously couldn't take the power. So we'll see. I don't know how Canelo punches hard. He punches hard. Crawford's gonna have to understand this is not Errol Spence Jr. He punches hard. So Crawford has to have a game plan where he really negates some of that power. And Canelo's a tricky guy, So coming up from such a low weight to fight Canelo. Now Crawford has done this before. He did, went up 135 to 147, and he fought Brettis Prescott. Okay, beat him up real bad. So this is not something new to Crawford per se. It's just the weight gain is going to be significantly bigger than what he did at 135 to 147. But having said that, he's done something like this before, okay, against a lesser opponent. So this is not new to Crawford. But if he does this and he wins against Canelo, he will be one of the top all-time greats of all time. He will be up there in fewer fights than anybody else, So, and it would be amazing if he draws with Canelo. That would be amazing, If you pull off a draw. So, it's going to be interesting. A very interesting fight. Crawford has, his rhythm and his timing and everything is what makes him so good. And so I would like to see how, he's going to have the reach advantage. He's going to have the height and length advantage. So maybe that makes a difference. Who knows? I don't know what will happen. Okay? That's a fight it's a must-see fight. That's probably one of the biggest fights in boxing, if not the biggest fight in boxing. That's going to be a big fight. And may the best man win. I don't know who will win in that fight. When I started playing it out of my head, people are saying it's Crawford. I understand why they say that, and I appreciate that, but I'm saying that's Canelo as well. It's not, this is Canelo. So if Crawford can make Canelo look like an amateur, that would be something. We'll see. I honestly don't know how that fight will go. I don't know. A lot of people think Crawford's going to win hands down. I really don't know. Now I think about it. So that's all I got for you in terms of boxing. I'll catch you guys later on What You Need. And I'm also Christiam Disciple.